So let's recap on the requirements needed for all cabin crew applicants and the reasons behind them. Depending on the airline, they may require new applicants to meet all of the requirements mentioned or just a few, so it's vital to always check with their recruitment criteria before applying. First, we shall look at the main requirements needed when applying to the airlines. Age requirements. The minimum age to become a cabin crew member is 18 to 21, depending on the airline. Almost all airlines serve alcohol during their flights. To serve alcohol freely and unauthorised by the licence holder, the minimum age required is 18. However, the airlines also require a minimum age to ensure that all new applicants have gained the following: a little more life experience, an ability to hold a position of authority with difficult passengers or in an emergency situation, the maturity to be away from family or friends when on stopovers, or if needing to move to another country to be based there. Since the 1st of October 2006, the UK has had an Age Discrimination Act, whereby employers are not able to dictate a maximum working age for any of their positions. If you are older and applying to the UK airlines, then you shouldn't have a problem as long as you are in good health. Most international airlines now also do not set an upper age limit to apply. Now let's look at minimum qualifications and education. The majority of airlines require you to have at least 4 school or higher education qualifications, 2 being English and Maths. English is required as there are many forms you are required to complete whilst working as cabin crew. They are required to be completed without spelling mistakes and all to be grammatically correct. As well as the paperwork, a person with an understanding of English is extremely important in relaying information effectively to any of their passengers or co-workers. Maths is important for the ability to handle money when selling the refreshments, meals and duty-free on board, as well as calculating the emergency equipment carried on board during any pre-flight checks, the total number of passengers when boarding, calculating meals and supplies. Now we're going to look at health. When your application is accepted by an airline to work as cabin crew, you will be required to undertake some medical examinations before they will consider offering you an employment contract. Flying regularly can be demanding on your physical and emotional well-being. Should you have any pre-existing medical conditions, they may be worsened in a cabin crew role. Apart from the airlines needing to be dependent on their cabin crew to be reliable to be able to work their dedicated shifts with limited sick days allowed, there is also a pretty big safety factor to consider. In the case of an emergency situation, you will be required to be able to cope physically with the demands the situation could impose. Well, it looks like she's just had the all clear, so let's head back now and check her height, which is our next requirement. Okay, so let's have a look at the minimum and maximum height requirements. A lot of the safety equipment is stored here, in the overhead lockers within an aircraft. Cabin crew must be able to reach this equipment easily, and therefore height requirements are set depending on the aircraft the airline uses. The most standard minimum height requirement is 5 foot 2 inches for both men and women. There are some airlines that have a minimum height requirement of 5 foot 1 inches or even 4 foot 8 inches as they operate smaller aircrafts. These cabin crew positions are rare to come by, but there are opportunities out there. A maximum height restriction is set to 6 foot 3 inches for both men and women. Any taller and the cabin crew may have problems with their duties with the height of the ceiling of the aircraft. With some airlines, including Emirates, they will require you to do a reach test during their interviews. You will be required to reach at least 2.12 metres without shoes. Next, let's look at the weight requirements. The majority of airlines do require your weight to be in proportion to your height. This is contrary to popular belief that airlines have this requirement purely for cosmetic purposes, but in fact for safety reasons. Somebody who is overweight could find cabin crew procedures more demanding on their bodies than someone who is within their recommended weight range. British Airways, for example, will require you to fit a jump seat belt at their interview stage. Most airlines' aircraft fly over water at some time. The ability for cabin crew to swim is essential should an emergency situation require the aircraft to be landed on water. When accepted as cabin crew, you will be required to demonstrate the ability to swim at least 25 to 30 metres in distance, and some require you to demonstrate the ability to tread water for at least a minute. And now for the final requirement that's always stipulated to apply as cabin crew: to have a valid passport. To work as cabin crew for any British or European airlines, you will be required to have a full and valid EU or UK passport and be entitled to work and live in the European Union. Your passport also needs you to be permitted for worldwide travel without restrictions. If you do not hold an EU or UK passport, there are international airlines that accept all nationalities. Okay, so they were the requirements that are always stipulated when applying to become cabin crew. There are other requirements that, although are not essential, may help with your application. These are to have an up-to-date first aid certificate and the ability to speak another language. So far we have only looked at the physical requirements needed to apply as cabin crew. However, airlines also set their own experience requirements. These requirements are set so the airlines can ensure the best possible service is provided by their cabin crew members. So let's have a look at what experience and personal qualities the airlines are looking for. Customer service experience. The passengers are the highest priority in both ensuring their safety and keeping them comfortable during the flight. So it is reasonable that the airlines require applicants for cabin crew positions to have excelled in customer contact positions and have gained at least 6 months' experience within this role. This experience could have been gained working in a role where you have had either direct or indirect contact with customers, or where you have cared for children, people with special needs, or a nursing position. Okay, so they were all of the customer service experiences required. Now let's have a look at the service industry experience. As the position of cabin crew is one of service to the general public, some airlines require applicants to have had previously a part-time or full-time experience in the service industry. This experience could have been gained waiting or serving in a restaurant, reception work within a hotel, in catering or other positions where there is a strong customer service focus. Throughout this video we have looked at the physical and previous work experience requirements. All we have left to look at now are the personal qualities all airlines are looking for in their cabin crew members. Here is the chart including all of the personal qualities required to become cabin crew. Take a moment to have a look at this chart and see how many of these personal qualities you possess. Now we have come to the end of Module 2 and you have gained an understanding of all of the requirements needed to become a cabin crew member. I look forward to seeing you in future modules.